At some point in your sourdough journey, you will want to travel with your sourdough starter to share your baking passion with your loved ones. Today, I will show you two methods of how I prepare my sourdough starter to travel by plane or by car. Traveling by car with your sourdough starter is the easiest way to transport your sourdough starter. The trick is to maintain your sourdough starter cool at all times. I keep my sourdough starter in the fridge, so if I'm traveling by car, I just take a small amount, like 60 grams or half a cup of sourdough starter in a small airtight sealed container with an ice pack. Then I am ready to hit the road, and the sourdough starter stays safe for a long period of time. If I travel by plane, I dry my sourdough starter completely. That gives me the option to place it in my check bag or even in my carry-on bag. To dry up your sourdough starter, get 2 sheets of parchment paper and place on the parchment paper 100 grams or a third of a cup of sourdough starter. Use a silicone spatula to distribute well the sourdough starter on the parchment paper. Then, place the other sheet of parchment paper on top and use a rolling pin to distribute the sourdough starter on the whole area of the paper. Make sure to roll the sourdough starter as thin as possible. Leave your sourdough starter to dry up at room temperature for at least 48 hours. After 48 hours, your sourdough starter should be as dry as this one. Use your hands to break it into small pieces. Even if you don't plan to travel, you can use this method to preserve some of your sourdough starter, or if you want to mail some sourdough starter to your loved ones. Once you have cut all your sourdough starter in pieces, place it in an airtight container and you will be ready to take it with you. And you can keep the rest at home to use later. This method is very simple and your sourdough starter will be safe, and you can preserve it for months or even years if you store it in a dry and cool place. I personally like to put my sourdough starter in my carry-on, but you can also place it in your check bag with no problem. To rehydrate your sourdough starter, place all the dry sourdough starter in a big jar. Add enough water to cover the dry sourdough starter and use a spatula to stir it. Let the sourdough starter soak for at least 1 hour. After 1 hour, stir it again and you should see how the sourdough starter starts to dissolve in the water. Repeat the same process 2 more times every hour until all the sourdough starter dissolves in the water. Once your sourdough starter is dissolved in the water, add the same amount of flour to the jar and mix well until you get this consistency. Use a rubber band to mark the level of your sourdough starter and let it proof for at least 4 hours. After 4 hours, feed your sourdough starter with the same quantity of water and flour and wait another 4 hours. Feed your sourdough starter one last time, and this time wait at least 8 hours or until your sourdough starter doubles in size. In the end, your sourdough starter should look like this one. Now, you will be ready to use it again. I hope that these tips are very helpful in your sourdough journey. If you like this video, please click in the like button. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I have a new recipe every week. Thank you for watching.